Namaste, Suswagatam, and welcome to our Sunday edition of Words of Wisdom Gyan Ganga on our Virat Hindustan Sangam social media channels. As you all know, we are simultaneously on various social media platforms. It is just not YouTube. We are on Facebook, Spaces, etc. So we welcome our viewers to today's discussion. Today we are going to be talking about Sanskrit, why it can be a future global language, and today's is episode number 261. We thank our viewers and request them to subscribe and like our various podcast, broadcast, and telecast, which we do every Sunday. Today we have two guests along with Dr. Subramaniam Swamy. Our first guest is S.Anantha Kalyana Krishnan. He is a retired IRS Assistant Commissioner of Customs, and he has been a 25 years activist of Sanskrit. He has conducted more than 70 spoken Sanskrit classes, and presently he is the Dakshin Kshetra Sampark Pramukh of Samskrita Bharati, which you know is a very famous Sangh organization promoting and making people talk and learn Sanskrit. We have another friend, young friend with us. He's an author of this well-known book, Sanskritam, Future Language of the World. He is Mr. Shamir A.H. Shamir presently lives in Bombay, but was born in Yadgir in Karnataka. He did his engineering in Bijapur. Then he did his further studies in NIT Surathkal near Mangalore, and also has studied in IIM Calcutta. He is now presently working as an investment banking firm, and he has no school learning in Sanskrit, but he took liking for Sanskrit in the year 2020 and has done extensive research, and this book is a culmination of his research and learning, and he has put it all in this book. So we welcome our two guests along with Dr. Swamy for the show. And with these words, you know that we have started a series of every Sunday where we highlight one of our ancient or in the freedom struggle, a hero who has done great jobs in history. So this time we are talking about Ji Rajguru from Odisha. So we will have the video shortly, who are the many unsung heroes of our history. So we'll be having the video and then the slide on this great warrior from Odisha.
Ji Rajguru was born in 1739 in Birahari Krishnapur, Odisha. His real name was Jagannath Mohapatra Rajguru. He was a scholar of Sanskrit and Vedic texts. He became the Rajguru and chief minister of King Mukunda Deva II of Khurda. Ji Rajguru was a fearless patriot who opposed British rule in Odisha. He refused to accept British control over the Jagannath temple and Khurda. The British demanded taxes and land control, but he firmly resisted. He organized the Paikas, the traditional warriors of Odisha, to fight the British. In 1804, he fortified Khurda fort and prepared for war. The British launched a massive attack using advanced weapons. Ji Rajguru and his forces fought bravely against British troops. Despite their courage, the British overpowered Khurda and captured him. In December 1804, Ji Rajguru was taken prisoner by the British. He was tortured in Medinipur and sentenced to a brutal execution. In 1806, he was tied to two opposite trees and torn apart. His sacrifice made him one of India's earliest freedom fighters. His bravery inspired later revolts, including the Paika Rebellion of 1817. Odisha observes November 6th as Ji Rajguru Martyrdom Day. His courage and patriotism remain a symbol of resistance against colonial rule.
We pay our tributes to this great warrior from Odisha, Ji Rajguru. And with this, it is over to Dr. Subramaniam Swamy. Then we will have Mr. A.H. Shamir, and then we will hear Anantha Kalyana Krishnan. Over to Dr. Swamy.
Well, with two great experts here, I don't think I should say very much except give an introduction to our colleagues here and the audience, which is not as familiar with Sanskrit as we should have been by now, but we missed the bus in 1947. And now we are thinking of ways of filling the gap, and that is how to bring Sanskrit. Why is Sanskrit so important for us? I don't go into the historical values and so on and so forth, and they get the emotional factor in. I'll say, look around the world, what is happening? If you go and see go to Google and see what is said in about St. James School, one of the most well-known schools, most prestigious schools, so prestigious that when Charles was recently coronated, the only school which was asked to come and sing a song was this St. James School, and they sang a song in Sanskrit. In that school, St. James School, Sanskrit is taught vigorously, and every morning the classes begin with a prayer in Sanskrit. And the principal was asked, why you being a Britisher, why are you so keen that Sanskrit should be taught? He said, according to me, if the Sanskrit slokas are recited by young students, then the brain development will be and the intelligence level will be much higher. And that is why I'm doing this. And that's there and available in Google. You don't have to take my word for it. So therefore, Sanskrit is now, we are discovering, is not as a language which Ramayana and Mahabharata was written, etc., etc. It's now a science language. In artificial intelligence, it is now widely held the view that over a period of time, the language of artificial intelligence would be in Sanskrit. Why? Because Sanskrit, there's no doubts about what one word says and one other word says. If supposing I say P-U-T, it is put. But if I write B-U-T, it is but. So, but in Sanskrit, you will have no such confusion. And therefore, Sanskrit is going to be getting increasingly this importance. In our country, we should have had learned Sanskrit from 1947. And in fact, when I was looking at the thing, the official language was stated to be in Article 343 of the Constitution, that our official language shall be in Hindi, in Devanagari script. Now, if they had said Sanskrit, I think the resistance would have been much less. But on the other hand, when you look at Article 351 of the Constitution, it says directive for the development of the Hindi language. And there they say that it should be to promote the Hindi language by developing it in such a way that the medium expression, takes more and more words of Sanskrit, and said by drawing whenever it is required or desirable to take the vocabulary primarily from Sanskrit. So all this business of the cinema Hindi and all that, it was not supposed to be part of the official Hindi. The Hindi which was to be done was to be taken up by us should be with Sanskrit vocabulary, and more words of Sanskrit should be brought in. Many years ago, when Karunanidhi was alive, one day he invited me for lunch. And although I was a papan, that is a derogatory word for a Brahmin, But Karunanidhi had some liking for me because of the emergency and all that, where I played a major role. So he called me, and then we were sitting and chatting with him. I told him, why are you opposing Sanskrit to be taught in schools here? He said, why, it is not, because it ain't got anything to do with our culture, it's something. But your name is Karunanidhi, that's Sanskrit, both words are kind of Sanskrit. He said, oh, that my father gave that name, I am not responsible. I said, all right, if that is so, why have you called your symbol of your party as Chinnam? Because Chin is Sanskrit, and Chinnam comes from that word. He says, no, maybe somebody thought it was Tamil and so on. Then I said, all right, then why Udayan Suryan? Your symbol is rising sun. And what does it say? How does he say it in Tamil? Udayan Suryan. Surya's Uday is with an added in Tamil. So I did research on the Tamil language, and I came to the conclusion about 40% of the words, even today, is a derivative from Sanskrit. So Sanskrit, some other languages are much more. Malayalam has maybe 70, 80%. Bengali also has about 70, 80%. And, the fact of the matter is that as we go along, I find that more and more we have to rely on Sanskrit words for substituting the English words. So what we are today trying to have with these two great scholars here is to tell the audience that this is a future that is to come. India is going to accept Sanskrit because Sanskrit is now accepted as an artificial intelligence. The NASA in its one of its members made a statement that in future when we start accumulating data, we will have to use Sanskrit because then the English will not be in a position to accumulate so much data, new words, and so on. So the acceptance is such that, as I told you, St. James School, and there's not just some school which has been put in a corner. When Charles was coronated, only delegation for school was from St. James School, and they came and recited Sanskrit slokas in Charles' coronation. So Sanskrit is now being learned in almost every language. I know Harvard University has a big department for Sanskrit. So today we need to popularize Sanskrit and make people believe that this is the future and we must learn it. From that point of view, certain doubts and this fear that it's a very tough language, all this business has generated. So I would say our two speakers should advise us how shall we proceed to see that Sanskrit is finally become the official language of India.
I think we'll start with Mr. H. Samir to give his views on his book, what his book contains, and all his independent views on Sanskrit. The book is in Dr. Swamy's hand. Dr. Swamy, could you just display the book for the benefit of our viewers? It says Sanskritam, future language of the world.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. Over to Mr. H. Samir.
Sure. Thank you so much, Jagdish sir. It's an honor to be here. Let me start by, quoting a shloka from Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, Vibhuti Yoga, which has 42 shlokas. Somewhere in the middle of that chapter, there is one shloka which I want to highlight. It says, Purodasam cha mukhyam mam vidhi partha bruhaspatim senaninam aham skanda sarasam asmi sagara. In this shloka, I want to focus on 1/4 part of it, which says senaninam aham skanda. Skanda is nothing but Subramanya, and senaninam means general. The fighting spirit, the fighting warrior, the ultimate general of gods is Subramanya. So we have Dr. Subramanyam Swamy, I would like to believe that the Supreme Personality, a Supreme Godhead, has gifted him those divine qualities of relentless fighting for the causes. Fighting doesn't mean just fighting with people, but fighting with our own weaknesses, and that relentless pursuit to make things happen. If Dr. Subramaniam Swamy's legacy is something, it is this. So he has been true to his name. So I would like to, express my gratitude to Subramaniam Swamy sir and others on the panel. And we are truly inspired by you, sir, because at 85, you have done more than what most people can imagine. On a Sunday evening, you could as well be resting, but the fighter that you are here trying to fight your next battle of making Sanskrit, the global first language, not because it's ancient, not because it deserves to be, but because it is good for everyone in the world to use this language. Nobody will do a favor to this language by making it the first language. They will be doing themselves and the generations to come a great favor if everybody appreciates the power of this language. Now, invoking this divinity and bowing down to this divinity, assuming that the gods are here to witness this well-intentioned and honest discussion, I would like to move forward. Anantavarya iti matva agre gachema. So what this simple Sanskrit iti matva agre gachema means, assuming so, let us move forward. Look at how long, this whole sentence or the phrase is. Assuming so, let us move forward. In Sanskritam or Sanskrit, it simply means iti matva agre gachema. Look at the conciseness and the beauty of this language. But we will get to more of it later. Let me proceed stepwise. First and foremost, to set the context for this discussion, language is possibly the oldest technology given by gods to the mankind. It is the substratum of everything that we humans do. Somebody may be a teacher, somebody may be a doctor, somebody may be an engineer, whatever be the profession, language is the common denominator. It's a very powerful substratum for everything that we do. So as humans in corporate world or elsewhere, even if we find 5% efficiency, we go with all the power at our disposal to realize that efficiency. But the whole world is getting educated by using English as the medium, whether they study medicine, engineering, whatever. Have we paused and wondered if the same knowledge I were to grasp in another language, could it have been more efficient? Will my ability to observe knowledge, store it, retrieve it, will it be more efficient? We upgrade our softwares, we upgrade our operating system so frequently, but language is something that we use day in and day out, and it's a great driver of efficiency. So the book, in summary, what it states is, if English were to be replaced with Sanskrit or Sanskritam, it's Sanskritam actually means that it's well crafted, like perfect language in a way, whereas Sanskrit is just an anglicized name. It means nothing. In English, the words don't have much to say about themselves, but in Sanskrit, every word says a lot about itself. It has huge implication. It has huge implication on the brain, our ability to optimally utilize the brain. We will come to that later. But everything is very deeply thought through. Now proceeding, after setting this context, how important is language? The fact that it's possibly the strongest common denominator for human civilization. I will proceed to what the book has to offer. The first chapter in the book talks about the completeness of Sanskritam alphabet, because alphabet is the beginning of the language. Every child starts with uttering those letters of the alphabet. So look at the beauty of Sanskritam alphabet. Apparently there are 48 letters, to aha. Aha are not exactly vowels, but let's assume, to make it simple, they are also vowels. And these 15, to aha, are swarahas. Swarahas, again, why they are defined swarahas? Again, there is a technicality. When you utter any one of them, anything, the two parts in the mouth, in the vocal tract, don't touch each other. Whereas when you utter any of the Venjanani, Kaka Gaganga, Chacha Jajaya, all these are Vargiya Venjana, 25, and then there are 8 more Venjanani, Yara Lava Shasasa. Again, when you utter these, if it's a perfect Venjana, then the two parts of your mouth touch. And another beauty is pretty much any unit sound that you can generate from your mouth, it's a letter in Sanskritam. Apparently it's 48, but ka can be made ka using the second vowel, ki. So like that, each of these 33 Venjanani have a multiplier effect of 15 times because of the vowels. So ka you can go all the way up to kaha, and same with cha, and everything you can multiply by 15. This may look simple, but it's a very, very powerful feature, because these are all unit sounds. So when you multiply this 33 into 15, you arrive at 495, and you add those 15 vowels, then we have 510 letters, vis-a-vis only 26 letters in English. So you may say, what is a big deal about it? The big deal is indeed a very big deal. I will come to that. Now we have numbers, right? Digits from 0 to 9. These are the single digit numbers. So when we go to 10, it becomes a 2 letter. Of course, why did we all start with 0 to 9? Because the ancient Indians came out with this beautiful decimal system, so the whole world has adopted it. But imagine if there were only 2 digits in this world, let's say 0 and 1. 0 and 1, it is a binary system. It's called binary system. You can still write any number. If I say billion something, you don't fall off your chair, because you have a logic underneath. A billion means 1, after that there are 9 more zeros or whatever. So you don't get scared, because everything is built out of these 10 digits. If there were only 2 digits, 0 and 1, you could still write all the numbers you are writing, but they would be extremely long. For example, a 99, when you write in decimal system using just 2 letters, 99, if you have to write it using binary system, you will write it as 1 1 followed by 3 zeros and followed by 1 1. So it may appear technical, but this is important to understand. You need 7 digits to write 99 in binary system. And using this parallel, I want to compare English and Sanskritam. So you have 510 letters and you have only 26 letters. That is why words are so long in English. For example, we are today discussing language. Language is an 8-letter word in English. In Sanskritam, it's just bhasha, 2 letters. And if I ask you why it is called language, you may find it very hard to explain why it is called language. You will say it may have come from Latin, Greek, everything. In Sanskrit, bhasha has come from the dhatu bha, probably. Bha means light. So the language lights up our world. So the word is also speaking about itself, and it is extremely concise. For example, shala. Shala is a 2-letter word in Sanskritam, whereas school, it is 6 letters. So you can take any examples around you. This is what this book has tried to do. I am no scholar at all, but I'm a learner, an inquisitive learner at that. And I have tried to, analyze Sanskritam objectively using the, because I'm an engineer and an MBA, finance MBA. I have tried to just analyze this language through the lens of hardcore economics, like a dhanda approach. Is there a profit if we switch this language? And what is the benefit I have tried to quantify the benefit, and it translates to trillions of dollars with the whatever analysis has been done is with the divine grace, with God's grace. None is my doing, but it suffices to say that everything has been looked through the prism of science, maths, and business cost and benefit analysis. Like I just explained you with two words, I will just give you another this thing. There is a word, composite word called sarvakara deshat. It just means by government order, which has 17 letters in English. In Sanskritam, this composite word has only 7 letters. So imagine the amount of paper which gets reduced, the amount of ink which gets reduced. If you ask a stressful 10th standard student or 12th standard student whether you want to score 100 marks by reading a book which is 200 pages, or you want to read only 100 pages book and score 100, I bet whether he's a student in the Western world, Eastern world, wherever, they all want to acquire same knowledge by reading fewer pages, period. So the conciseness is a major pillar, and conciseness is not a happenstance. There is a design aspect to this language. The book actually, the third chapter, while the second chapter quantifies mathematically the level of conciseness, and there is more than 50% conciseness in this language, which is very powerful. Like I mentioned, in corporate world, if we even find 5% efficiency, we go after it with all our energies. But here it is 50+% conciseness. And the third chapter talks about why this language is concise. Like I said, it's not just a coincidence or a happenstance, it's a design aspect of the language. The design is so beautiful. I think this forum doesn't permit us to go so deep technically, but it suffices to say that the design and architecture of the language is so beautiful, so precise, so concise, so logical, so analytical, that this whole language is extremely computer friendly, because you can program the rules of this language. Like Dr. Swamy said, put, but, and all that. I can quote so many other examples. There is accent problem. Forget about the firstly the confusion itself on how to pronounce a word. In Sanskrit, if you read the word, you already know how to pronounce it. You can't mispronounce it. You have to pronounce the way it is written. Imagine the efficiency at the level of brain, because in English you are spending half the time trying to remember the spelling and trying to remember the pronunciation. In Sanskrit, none of that is required. Lot of my medical friends, doctors, when they were reading medicine, the spellings used to be so long, the words used to be so long. So there is lot of release of cortisol happening in your brain. It's creating stress, and stress actually reduces the barrier for all the diseases. All the more so for mental diseases like Parkinson, Alzheimer. The book talks about it. A lot of doctors say we don't really know why Parkinson, Alzheimer happens, but the two factors are stress levels and the lifestyle. According to this book, even language is a lifestyle, which people don't talk about it. It's not just the food you eat, the exercise, but even the language you speak, because language is omnipresent. You use it for everything, for your leisure, for your work, for your learning, everything. So language is also a lifestyle factor. So beyond this, there are other aspects, other features of this language. Like Dr. Swamy mentioned that slokas were chanted. So why this whole principle behind writing these slokas? It's called Chandas Shastras. All the letters are divided in binary fashion. Laghu Guru. Every letter is divided as Laghu Guru. And our ancestors, the smart ancestors with divine grace, they knew if this is the sequence of Laghu Guru, or if X is if it's in this sequence, then it produces musical notes. It will be very easy to remember. So I'll just give you, it just came to my mind. For example, imagine, let's take the example of Bhagavad Gita. How does it start? The chapter 1. It says Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya. So you want it to be taught in this musical way. I'm just taking example of Bhagavad Gita. It applies to maths, it applies to science, it applies to literature. Everything can be gamified. The learning can be gamified using shlokas. Would you like it this way? Or if I have to translate this entire shloka, it says Dhritarashtra says Dharma Kshetre. The Dharma Kshetre itself will be so long. The field, in the field of righteousness. Okay, you want to know it in the field of righteousness, or you just want to say Dharma Kshetre? Kurukshetre. Kurukshetre means in the field of Kurus. So how long an English teacher will have to suffer himself and suffer the students? Samaveta means the people who have assembled. It's just one word, Samaveta. Yuyutsava means people who are enthusiastic to fight. Mamaka means my people. Pandavas Chaiva, it's just one composite word. And Pandavas also. Kimakurvata Sanjaya. What are they doing, Sanjaya? So imagine a teacher walking into a class and explaining this shloka. How much stressful and how many words he has to use and how complicated the explanation will be. Whereas this shloka is so musical. It is releasing happiness hormones in your mind when you are learning. So it is very good mentally. It is very good for your time. It saves lot of time, and these letters of the alphabet or something which come naturally to us because it's produced. When a child is born anywhere in the world, he will say E. He will not say A, B, F, G. These are the basic letters. So I, apart from poetic meters, so I talked about 48 letters and 510 letters. So if we have 48 is the consonants and it translates to 510 letters, whereas in English it's 26 letters. So if we have to arrive at 3-letter words in English using permutation combination theory, 26 3C3, then it results in 15,600 words, 3-letter words where the letter is not repeated. If I do it for 510 letters which are there in Sanskritam, it leads to 13.2 crore words. 3-letter words, 13.2 crore. But of course, lot of it don't get used. Just the way in English, one of the words can be ABC, but it's not a word. Similarly in Sanskritam, but it gives the scale of comparison, vastness of the language. That's why for any object, you have multiple names. For example, sun. There is only one name, sun, sun, probably in English. In Sanskritam, there are more than 100 names for Surya. And each of those names are properties. When you chant those names, you also know the properties of the sun. For example, one of the words is Rutukarta, means he is a creator of season. Anshuman means the rays. He is full of rays. So if you just chant the 100 names of sun, God, because the world is driven by him, then you also know the properties of sun. And when you know properties, you can innovate. You are knowledgeable. You can build on that knowledge. You can innovate. So I think I have taken more than the permissible time. Over to Ananta Varya, Bhavantah Vadantu, Jagdish Varya, please.
Thank you, Shamir ji. As we said, we are now going over to S.Anantha Kalyana Krishnan, who is a retired Assistant Commissioner of Customs, but for the last 25 years, he has been an Sanskrit activist, as he wants to call himself. And he has been conducting these classes. Dr. Swamy and I have taken the benefit of these classes in Coimbatore. We are grateful to him to having introduced us to some spoken Sanskrit. With these words, it's over to Anantha Kalyana Krishnan ji. Your mic is perhaps on mute.
Namasarvebhyaha. You are able to hear?
Yes, very clear.
Nama Sarvebhah. Actually, the topic is when it can be a global language. Before it is a global language, now the need of the hour is that it should become the national language. Because, as Dr. Swamy said, we missed the bus in 1947.
Yes.
I remember I reread the speeches of Sri Lakshmikant Maitra and also the deliberation by other scholars in the Constituent Assembly. If the listeners have time, you please go to Google and search for the speeches of Lakshmikant Maitra. And there is another wonderful person, Dr. Naziruddin Ahmad. He was also a leading lawyer from Calcutta. And he quoted elaborately from world scholars how great Sanskrit is. And said Sanskrit should be the national language and it has the unbiased disadvantage. That is, it has the disadvantage is unbiased. That is, north and south, east and west, all are at a disadvantage of not having knowledge of the Sanskrit language. So if it is made the official language with government patronage, the Sanskrit language could have become the national language. All that money that we have wasted till date on official language implementation is a farce. They were merely trying to impose Hindi because it is spoken by 4 regions, four provinces of the country.
Mm.
Anyway, the other aspect is the imposition of English on India. Nobody is talking. Even in Tamil Nadu, they are talking imposition, Hindi, imposition, Sanskrit, imposition there. They are not talking about imposition of English. See, actually, English is a disintegrator. It disintegrates languages. Because of English, more than 1,000 languages in the European and the American Peninsula area, it has lost because of the invasion of the English. The same is happening for India also. So we must keep English at the doorstep because the subjects that we study are in English that has been imposed on us. 250 years back, all this knowledge system was in Sanskrit. Metallurgy, chemistry, mathematics, everything was, all the texts were available in Sanskrit. It was being taught in Sanskrit. All the Indian scientists, they were learning it only in Sanskrit. But by the imposition of English, that system was gone. The Gurukula system was abolished and the school education system was brought. Then to cut at the basic root, because Sanskrit is the foundation of our culture. See, our country is under attack. We do not know. Many of the people do not realize. We think somebody is attacking you from the border of the country. That is only attack. That is not the case. Now the military, the army, they are all there in the border. So now that type of an external aggression, physical aggression cannot take place. But cultural aggression, that has been continuing with intensity, added vigor, with a lot of funds. So first what they want is, they want to cut at the root of our culture. So to cut at the root of our culture, they want to banish Sanskrit. And our government, they fell a prey into their hands. They were trying to teach Sanskrit through English. You ask a question in Sanskrit, the student will write the answer in English, he will be given full marks. So many students took Sanskrit as a subject in the school because it is a high scoring mark. See, they will say, what is the question? What was the advice given by Rama to Bharata? That is the question. Ramasya Upadeshaha kim asit? Tada, they will say, what Rama's advice? They will write the Rama advice Bharata like this, write in English, and they will get full marks. As a result, those people who studied Sanskrit, they cannot write a sentence. Unfortunate thing is that many of the professors in colleges who are teaching in Sanskrit, they also do not know to write correct Sanskrit. Dosha Rahita Sanskritam. They are not able to. So it is because of this background that Samskrita Bharati ventured that we must teach Sanskrit to the people just as a child learns its mother tongue. In the house, the father and the mother speaks to the child. No grammar rule is explained. They just talk. Listening to their talk, the child also picks up the conversation. So this is the basis of the Samskrita Bharati's conversation classes. We invite people for 10 days. The only condition on your part is that you come for all the 10 days. And I must tell before everybody that Dr. Swamy was very punctual in the class. For all the 10 days, Dr. Swamy sat through with rapt attention. He switched off his mobile phone. See, that's an international personality who gets so many calls. He simply switched off his cell phone and he sat with rapt attention in the 10 days class. It was a great thing. And it is a revelation for me. And today he is a great supporter, ardent supporter of Sanskrit, having studied the language himself. So first-hand experience, he is not a hypocrite. He learned Sanskrit and he is propagating Sanskrit. So all the public personalities in India, they must all learn Sanskrit. At least they must taste it. They must have a taste of that. And so that you can all come for support. Then unitedly we will take forward this movement. And with great comfort, we can implement this language to everybody. Because I can assure you, see, I myself, I never studied Sanskrit in school or college. One of my friends, he invited me and told, "Arey, you come and learn Sanskrit." I told, "How can Sanskrit? It's such a vast subject, it's an ocean. Arey, you come, there is no fees, it is free. You come, only thing is you have to come for 10 days. So I went for the class, 10 days I sat, then unknowing to me, Sanskrit was coming out of my mouth. He was asking question, I was answering. And this conversation went on. After 10 days, I attended the further classes. Then I attended the trainer session. I became a teacher. Then I conducted so many classes. So that my Sanskrit became fluent. Even now, I am in the learning process only. I am not a scholar. But as you said, I am a Sanskrit activist. I am I decided that I must dedicate my life for propagation of Sanskrit and also to dispel the misconception in the mind of many people, especially people in Tamil Nadu. The people in Tamil Nadu, they want to learn Sanskrit. But a set of politicians, they don't want people to learn Sanskrit. So they want to prevent that. So I used to tell them, the Sanskrit was remaining in Tamil Nadu for thousands of years, along with Tamil. It coexisted. There was no danger for Tamil. Similarly, there was no danger for any of the regional languages in India, Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, Bengali, any language for that matter. There was no threat. The language survived along with Sanskrit because Sanskrit was there in all the languages. So it was a catalyst. Sanskrit was being used by all the languages. So why the fear? But now, after the coming of some English language into the lifestyle, see, you keep the English at the doorstep. You learn in mathematics, you learn chemistry, you learn physics. But why do you drag English into your house? You talk each other in Sanskrit, in English. People think it is fashionable. You make your children call you mummy, daddy, happy birthday, and all these types of. So that is an attempt to change the cultural lifestyle of India. So you forget your roots. Your roots get cut, and like other cultures that in the world which was destroyed, the Greek culture, the Persian culture, all the cultures that was destroyed by the advent of Western civilization, the same thing is being attempted in India. One example I will tell you. See, Ayurveda. See, Ayurveda, the root, the text, basic texts are all in Sanskrit. And all the texts are still very much available in now. But still, our government is teaching Ayurveda in colleges through English books. Then the basic texts are very much, and I had an opportunity to go through some of the English texts being taught in university, Ayurveda colleges. And some of the translation of Charaka's slokas are ridiculous. It is absurd. But this is how they are teaching. And the students cannot, as Samir said, the chandas. See, the slokas are created in chandas, they call it meter. But most of the slokas in the common text are all in Anushtup chanda. That is 8 letter. As we have it in Bhagavad Gita, we have it in Bhagavatam and all. So Anushtup chanda is the easiest among the chandas. It can be easily learned by heart. So the Ayurveda text, most of the slokas in Anushtup chandas. So previously, the students used to learn all the slokas. So 15 years it used to take for a person to become a seasoned Ayurvedic physician. At the age of 8, at the age of 10, he will enroll with the Gurukula and within 12 to 15 years, he will come out successful. He would have learned all the slokas by heart. So any ailment, you go to the doctor, he will immediately refer to that text and he will immediately quote the entire words and tell you that this is the reason. So this is the problem. And they used to cure you. They used to give you a prescription. But today, none of the Ayurvedic doctors are able to do it. In colleges, they are simply teaching. I think a lot of money is being wasted on Ayurveda. It should be because, and they have connected it with the NEET exam. People who fail in who come in the lower rung of the NEET examination, higher rung they go up to MBBS, lower rung they come to Ayurveda. So they are in Ayurveda college, not out of their option. See, whereas previously, a person who wanted to pursue Ayurveda, he used to aspire for it. So he will prepare himself basically by learning Sanskrit grammar and other things. Then he will join with an Ayurvedic physician as a student and learn. That is how Ayurveda should have been taught. Unfortunate situation. This is the same case with many of the sciences. So we in Samskrita Bharati, we are encouraging people to learn Sanskrit as conversation. From conversation onwards, you go to the next stage of grammar, and after the grammar is taught, then you can choose the field you want to go. You want to go for Nyaya Shastra or Vyakarana or even for Vedanta or any field for that matter. Ayurveda, Yoga, Vastu Shastra. So many fields are there open. You can take to that field. This is how we are proceeding, and we are getting great response, especially in Tamil Nadu. Many of people are asking, sir, why we are being prevented from learning Sanskrit? You come to us. In many villages, they are asking me. Unfortunately, we have lack of volunteers. So we have built a training center at near Karur at Mahadanapuram. 100 people can stay there. Bhashyam Samskrita Shikshana Kendram. So you can come and stay there and learn Sanskrit. And similarly, in New Delhi and Varanasi also, we have two learning centers where also we have 15 days courses every month. It starts on 1st, ends on 15th. Another class starts on 16th, it ends on 30th. So we have two such centers in Varanasi and New Delhi, where also we are having this facility. So people can come and learn. But if people, all the public personalities, if they extend their hand, and we have more such training centers all over India, and all volunteers, you must volunteer yourself to spread Sanskrit, because spreading Sanskrit is actually you are fighting a war. You are a soldier. You are fighting a war, cultural war. The country is being attacked. So we are fighting that. We are resisting that. You must learn the history of Ben Yehudim of Israel. That is, the Jews were all widely spread all over the world. They were scattered. To unite them, he started spreading the language, the Hebrew language. He started teaching them. He said only the language can unite us. And he conducted a lot of classes against opposition from his own community. They said Hebrew is a divine language. You should not use it for common usages like bathroom, toilet, and all these things. You should not use these words. But he was unmoved. He spread it, and as a result, all the people got united, and the nation of Israel was created. And the university in Israel, that has produced more than 43 Nobel laureates. It is through Hebrew medium that they were teaching all the subjects. So that's a great lesson, eye-opener for us. Even now, it is not too late for us. Even though we missed the bus in 1947, we can still do that if only all people come together. And Samskrita Bharati is very much willing. Our volunteers are there all over India. And I ask people to join our classes. We have also correspondence courses. 6 months, every 6 months we have examination. Through that course also, you can all join. So with these words, I again hand over the mic back to Urjava Jagdish Shetty.
Yeah, thank you, Anantha Kalyana Krishnan ji. Shamir ji, yes, you want to make some point.
With your permission, I just want to make 2 points very quickly. First and foremost, you know, that the world at large, all the countries have signed a document at the level of UN. They have recognized the 17 goals. They are called SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. The whole world has converged, saying that these are the biggest problems, so we have to solve them. So this book mentions in one of the chapters, I thought it's an important point which I failed to highlight earlier. 11 out of these 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, get a huge boost if we use Sanskritam instead of English. So it is for the good of the world. World is one family. So what is good for us could be good for everybody in the world. So this language is relevant to everybody in the world. And secondly, another chapter in this book shows the commonality of Sanskrit with so many diverse language like Russian, Arabic, European languages, of course. So
Yes.
this is indeed a link language. So people speaking any language, they can learn this language because they will say that there are so many commonalities of my language with this language. But it's not true with English. So these are two powerful reasons why world should take a very serious look at it, because there are efficiencies and many other things that we have discussed.
One more point I wanted to highlight is that, as you said, Sanskrit is a refined language, and even the words, the Sanskrit language has never undergone any change. For example, the English or Tamil that was spoken or written some 200, 300 years back, today that is not the form of language. The language style keeps changing. Whereas in Sanskrit, the words used in Bhagavad Gita, it can be used even today. As you
Right.
want, you do. So like that, the Sanskrit, or even in Kavyas of Kalidasa, or even the Mahabharata, there are a lot of conversations. All those conversations can be used even today also, those words. So the language never undergoes any change. That is the greatness of Sanskrit.
The letters are called akshara, which means they are immutable. They will stay the same, just like numbers. It doesn't change with time.
Yeah.
Arvind, you have some comments or questions? Then we'll go to Ramesh ji. You are muted, Arvind. Arvind, you are muted.
In the part of the comment, I would first like to underline what Mr. Anantha Kalyana Krishnan has said. If you compare the history of India and Israel, there are a lot of similarities. And similarly, if you can compare the history of Sanskrit and Hebrew, there are a lot of similarities. Hebrew was an old language like Sanskrit. Hebrew was killed over a period of time by different types of people. Israel has multiplicity of languages and dialect like India has. Israel has 35 different languages and dialects. India has more. Similarity is 1947 we got freedom. Israel was founded in 1948. And in one stroke, we have been debating and the controversial three language formula. Israel also had three language formula: Arabic, English, and Hebrew. And in one stroke after 1948, Hebrew was made a national language. And I would repeat what Dr. Swamy said in the beginning of this program, that in 1947, we had the opportunity to adopt Sanskrit as the language. And our scholars also mentioned the debate in the Constituent Assembly. But somehow, even if we have missed the bus, there is still an opportunity. I think the book written by Mr. Samir H, and the way he has described it, every Indian who loves India or Indian culture or Sanskrit should read such a book and commit himself or herself to the cause of the Sanskrit, unless we have a unifying language like Sanskrit, like Hebrew did in Israel. Our India will still continue to be divided, and I think we have opportunity. And a leader like Dr. Subramanian Swamy, I have seen last at least 40-45 years, he has been advocating the cause of Sanskrit. Let's take this as a mission. And हम हिंदी में कहें तो हम एक संकल्प लें कि हम संस्कृत को आम बोलचाल की भाषा, we will make the link language in India Sanskrit, and then only the country can be unified. These are my comments, but our two scholars have really wonderful presentation, and they have made everything they have said including what Dr. Swamy said in the introduction part. Everybody who is listening to this program today will get an impression and carry the home this message that if India can be united through language and culture, it is the Sanskrit language which can unite the country, and let's work for it.
Thank you, Arvind. Ramesh ji, what are your views? And if you have any questions, you are also from
Swagatam to
computer
both of you.
background.
Swagatam to both of you. I mean, both of them have explained to us, the greatness of the Sanskrit. I have been fortunate enough to learn it for at least in my school for 9 years, and then continued to study it a little bit. I'm at least fluent in reading and writing, but I don't think I can speak. So I'm going to take Dr. Mr. Krishnan's advice and say, okay, let me join and learn to speak also. I can understand a lot of those things because I've learned it on a Likita Pata, not in, I have not spoken it. So I think it'll be very useful for me to learn that too. I've always, wanted to do it, and you always procrastinate doing it. But thank you, and I'm going to see and I said 10 days. Okay, I'm going to commit myself to that and start learning it and get this thing done. Dr. Swamy, as you know, Paramacharya has told many times about the greatness of Sanskrit, and there is not enough time to say what. There was one very specific, since we spoke about Hebrew, there is one specific anecdote that there were scholars from Hebrew, some Italian, and 3 or 4 scholars, and they were looking for the oldest language in the world. So one of them said, no, Hebrew is the oldest in the Occidental, but we don't know if it is Tamil or Sanskritam in India. So Paramacharya said, okay, both have only one root, which is Veda. So then he goes back and he teaches them a little bit. He says it picks up a Rig Veda, and obviously written in Devanagari or Sanskritam. And those scholars are stunned to say, like what Samir said, there is only a small difference in alphabetical. Okay, so somebody says, I'll just paraphrase that one word. The translator said that Paramacharya is telling to that Hebrew guy. Paramacharya, he's speaking to the Hebrew guy, saying Paramacharya is saying that what you just said in Hebrew and what Paramacharya said are verbatically correct. So Paramacharya says it's not verbatically correct, alphabetically correct. So this Akshara, he brings how the importance of Akshara. He just says there is only a slight variation. Like in Bengali, we say, they use Bha for Va. So in Kannada and Tamil also there's a difference. But it is just only those alphabetically same. But the meaning is the same. That they were stunned. So the vastness of this language and the depth is so huge. It's just that as Indians, we forget as to how great this language is. And as you began your conversation, the conciseness of this language, what you can say. And then very famous book that everybody knows called Vedic Mathematics. In 2 lines, he defines the value of pi up to a few hundred decimals, just 2 lines. Here, for us to define pi up to a few hundred, we have to write in a whole page of the value of pi alone in mathematics. So that beauty, we don't value what the beauty we have in our hand, or the diamond that we have in our hand. We have no value for it, and we always look for what the diamond which is outside. We have some uneducated politicians thinking that we should learn only Tamil and English or Tamil and French. Sadly, in Tamil Nadu, but the guy who's running Tamil Nadu can't speak anything more than Tamil. So that is a different issue. But we just discussed this last week, Dr. Swamy, and what happens in Tamil Nadu. But at the end and again, you insisted that the link language should be Sanskrit, because words have, for most of the language, almost every language in India is borrowed from Sanskritam. So I think it is a very important thing that it is not as though immediately people are going to jump, so why should I learn Sanskritam? It is a Papan language or a Brahmin language. It is not so. It is not the case. Once you learn it, it is very easy to converse easily with others. It is just that they have the mental apprehension or a block saying that it is a Brahminical language, it is not the case. Vedam is different. They think that I don't know what book he's asking for. I don't know which book, but anyway, essentially, Dr. Swamy, I said the link language should be Sanskritam, and there's nothing more left to it. And it's a very good anecdote that when Krishnanji talked about how Hebrew after Israel was formed, Hebrew was made important. I don't know what happened now. Okay, that's it, Jagdishji. It's now up to you. I don't know.
Okay. Does the Mr. Anantha Krishnan or Mr. Shamir have anything to comment before our friend Arvind Chaturvedi will wind up the show?
No, I only urge everybody to take time and learn Sanskrit, and we will unify the nation. Our nation will become stronger with Sanskrit. Jayatu Sanskritam, Jayatu Bharatam.
Ketaki Acharya, the name of the book itself is called Vedic Mathematics. Okay, so if you want to go buy that book, you can go on Flipkart or Amazon. The title of the book itself is Vedic Mathematics. It was written by one of the Shankaracharya, I think Varanasi, if I'm not mistaken, but I will Google it. Once you Google it, you'll get Vedic Mathematics, you'll get that book very easily.
Anantha Kalyana Krishnanji, I just want you to tell if there is a website by which through they can contact your network, because you are spread all over the country in states and many cities. So if there is a website, many of our viewers are already asking, how do we contact Samskrita Bharati?
Yes, we have a website, SAMSKRITA, samskritabharati.in.
Okay.
This is all India website.
Benefit of our viewers. Could you repeat that again? Samskrita.
SAMSKRITA, Samskrita, BHARATI, Bharati.in.
Yeah, in fact, we will be shortly displaying this on our screen. This is what is on the screen for the benefit of the viewers to reach out to Samskrita Bharati. They are spread all over the country, or many states, or most of the states, and many places in various cities. So this is for the benefit of our viewers. The thing is on your screen. I have one small question before Arvind winds up to Shamir ji. Yeah.
Go ahead, Arunji. Jagdishji, I have one more. I forgot. I want one more.
Shamir ji, in this, you are from an engineering background, and just want for the benefit of our viewers, what about this future AI, artificial intelligence and all that? What has been because you are from engineering, you have done from Bijapur as well as Surathkal near Mangalore. What is your idea about the future of AI and Sanskrit?
Sir, like I mentioned, it's there in the book as well. The whole language is, very, very logical. The way it is structured, the language, it's, for example, Panini's, whole grammar rules, right? They are in the form of sutras, like soft coding. All these sutras can be potentially, or like automated, programmable, because they are very clearly defined. Okay, I'm speaking at a very high level. Obviously, the experts need to do more research. The language is very analytical. So intuitively, we can say the performance requirements of chips can be, it will require lesser rating of chips, which are the key drivers for AI. Okay, that's potentially a very big advantage. People need to do this research. And then the memory requirements. And third driver for AI is, we write algorithms and all, are they error prone? For example, one feature of Sanskrit language is there is no accent. In the world of AI, there will be a lot of voice commands. An American, the way he gives, and an Indian, the way he speaks English, the accents are different. So potentially the algorithms can create errors, and errors can be very costly. And let's say if we are programming in such a way that all these accents are taken care, that means you are burdening the chips with more processing power. You need more memory. So a deeper research is required by AI experts. Intuitively, I can say that this language will trump over other languages because of the sheer architecture of the language.
Yes, Ji, you had some last question. You are muted. You're muted.
Yeah. I was just a little bit of cough. So, Mr. Krishnan, and do you have anything? What is the central Sanskritam University in India doing? I mean, are they doing anything to promote this? Because not much. You said they have a lot of information or literature. I don't know how much of this is really online or available to people in general. Is that a good? I mean, we've always. I have tried many times to reach out to them, and I have got nothing.
No, the Central Sanskrit University, they have branches in all regions of the country, and they are all independent universities. So these are all united through the Central Sanskrit University in Delhi. The Vice Chancellor, Dr. Srinivas Varakhedi, who is a great scholar himself from Karnataka, and there is a Rajiv Gandhi Sanskrit Samsthan at Sringeri. There is a Sanskrit University at Tirupati. Similarly, there is a Sanskrit University at Puri and Ujjain. So many places. They are all independent universities. All these things anchored from the Delhi Central Sanskrit University. So they are running various courses. The Central Sanskrit University funds all these projects, and also various Sanskrit activities also they are funding for Sanskrit research and propagation, Pathashala, publication of books, and all these things. So they are doing a great job sitting in Delhi. They are anchoring all these activities, monitoring all these activities.
Let me just add to what Mr. Krishnan has said. In Delhi, we have an institute called Lal Bahadur Shastri Sanskrit Vidyapeeth in South Delhi, and they run various courses in Sanskrit right from beginning. And the material which they have produced for learning of the language Sanskrit, the complete package, which may be weighing about more than 2 kilograms in weight, right from the lesson number 1 to Sanskrit in order to write, read, and other thing. The total cost of the material is 180 rupees. I recently bought the complete package of this Sanskrit language learning, and this is promoted and subsidized by Government of India.
Yes. There is also one Sanskrit Promotion Foundation, SPF. That is also, it was an initiative of Dr. Gopal Swamy, who was the Chief Election Commissioner. He is the chairman of that. And they are doing a wonderful job. They are publishing a lot of books. Gita and Ayurveda, Gita and Sanskritam, Ayurveda and Sanskritam.
What is the name again, sir? What is the name?
Sanskrit Promotion Foundation, SPF. Sanskrit Promotion Foundation. You can get, they are publishing a lot of books. They are doing a wonderful job.
Okay, Arvind.
I think this kind of discussion on national language and possibility of Sanskrit being the global language, and as Mr. Kalyana Krishnan first said, let us make it a national language before we even discuss about a global language. Last week, I was not there in this program, but the Words of Wisdom Gyan Ganga had discussed the controversy raised by Tamil Nadu Chief Minister over Tamil and imposition of Hindi. And so this was also related to language issue. I think linearly saying this is just extension of last week's discussion. And thanks to the two scholars who have joined us today, Mr. Samir A.H. and S.Anantha Kalyana. Both of them have added so much rich knowledge to the knowledge we already had. As I said earlier in this program, that Dr. Swamy has been propagating this cause of Sanskrit for last 45-50 years. And he is the only champion in this language who, undeterred, has been continuing this crusade for Sanskrit. And I'm glad now there are many takers, and this kind of discussion will also further encourage people to learn about Sanskrit. Sanskrit is called Deva Bhasha, languages of the God, and it is not a
crusade. It is Dharma. It is not crusade.
God is done in Sanskrit. Of course, you can communicate with God in any language or even without language, but the kind of knowledge which Mr. Samir has added today, like saying that there is a poetic meter, there are letters and combinations, 15 point some crores combinations of the kind of letters that we have in Sanskrit. This is a great treasure of our culture, and I think this program will go a long way in appreciating this language and the richness of this language. Thank you, Mr. Kalyana Krishnan, for joining us. thank Mr. Samir AH for joining us and enriching our discussion today. Dr. Swamy, as usual, he takes up a cause and continues till that cause is achieved. And that is the kind of reputation he has. And I'm sure if he continues with the crusade supported by people like you, we will sure get an atmosphere in the country which will be in the favor of Sanskrit. I thank all the speakers. I thank Mr. Ramesh Swamy and Mr. Jagdish Shetty. Just to say that Government of India has also been doing a lot of promotion, and I mentioned about Sanskrit Nideshalaya and other thing. Akashvani and Doordarshan, they also have a Sanskrit bulletin, but I don't know how many people listen to that bulletin. If you go for TRP or something, maybe the TRP will be very low. But these kind of programs are required for people to generate interest in Sanskrit. Thank you very much, all the people who participated in today's program, and I thank the technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Swaminathan, Tejas Navalgul, Gadgi Rakesh, Ishwaraya, Rajesh Nair, and Gurdas Shetty. We will be meeting next Sunday once again, Indian Standard Time, 8 p.m. with Dr. Subramanian Swamy on a new topic. Till then, Namaskar, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind and Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Bharat.
Jai Bharat. Vande